Jump in. You just said you're gonna pick up the whole Monopoly board and throw it over, and then Chris is gonna throw the Lincoln log at you, and we're all gonna leave.
I'm being tagged into the cage match.
Yes.
I'm ready for it.
All right.
Yeah. Oh God, you know what? I thought it was a great thing. Because I've been pushing for the concept of tackling this problem culturally, because I want to address the demand for guns, not just the supply of guns, not just the legislative part that allows people to have guns or not.
Right.
I think, and Matthew McConaughey speaking out on this tackles that, or it doesn't obviously doesn't tackle all of it, but it's a step in the right direction as far as convincing the culture.
Yes.
And I think where I agree with Chris is that what Matthew McConaughey did was speak to people who aren't necessarily in the day-to-day argle-bargle of Twitter politics or anything like that. So what they want to hear.
You Scalia'd me without even telling me
that
I'm
was
pretty.
a Scalia term.
Tell me I'm pretty first.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I'll be flagellating myself later over that one. Yeah. Oh, God. I quoted Scalia.
Well, I mean, but I'm sorry. The ridiculous arguments are the sole province of Republicans. The one door, there needs to be one door. There's,
that is ridiculous.
We need to arm
Absolutely.
teachers. And then this varmint thing. You commented on Ken Buck, Republican of Colorado, saying the AR-15 is a gun of choice for killing raccoons before they get to our chickens. And you, and John Thune, what is it there? Prairie dogs?
Yeah, prairie dogs.
Yeah, hold on.
Why do people even need AR-15s?
Well, I mean, the challenge you have on that is there's 20 million of them in the country already. They are a sporting rifle, and it's something that a lot of people, for purposes of going out, target shooting, in my state, they use them to shoot prairie dogs and, other types of varmints. And so I think that there are legitimate reasons why people would want to have them.
The word varmint was used on Capitol Hill yesterday.
Varmints.
Who was
Feral Hogs guy?
That was Cassidy from
Cassidy was
Louisiana.
feral. Wow. And you said, Bob, fine, you don't need a constitutional amendment guaranteeing your right to kill raccoons in your chicken coop. While I'm here, you do need an amendment to protect your collecting hobby. I mean, there would just be raccoon and chicken jerky everywhere if you use an AR-15.
Yeah, exactly.
I would just want to say I would pay good money. I know that's useless probably in John Thune's home state, but I would pay good money for his Democratic challenger to be like, John Thune is such a terrible shot. He needs an AR-15 to hit a varmint. I could do it with a BB gun.
I love Santiago. Santiago tweeted, "It's true. In LA, we frequently call in tomahawk airstrikes on coyotes." I mean, seriously, you need an AR-15
to shoot a
varmint.
That would explode them. It would be like putting it in the microwave.
What cartoon are we in, Bob?
Yeah, I know. Yosemite Sam is the guy who was always talking about varmints, right?
Varmints, yeah.
And he only needed a shotgun.
Yeah.
By the way, a shotgun with buckshot would be much better use against the varmints because it sprays and it hits and it would clear a whole area. You wouldn't have to be a good aim.
Are you sure,
John Thune?
That wouldn't decimate the varmints? I mean, wouldn't buckshot just completely annihilate the varmint?
It makes it easier to shoot, though. The concept of buckshot is that you don't have to necessarily hit your target. And John Thune obviously can't. He needs an AR-15 to do it.
Oh, my God.
What I'm unclear is the ballistics of varmints. What I need to know, we need to do some testing. Well, maybe not. You
can't just kill them. You have to completely vaporize them.
Someone more qualified.
Maybe get a laser.
Yikes. Well, anyway, Bob, so that's... You understand Travis and my point. It's just that this is part. Both sides do-itism is part of why we don't get anything done, because the Republicans know the media will just say, "Oh well, Congress didn't get anything done again," and it's here we are.
I personally didn't love the both sides part of what he said, but at the same time, I'm not the audience for what Matthew McConaughey was saying. Matthew McConaughey, I think, is speaking to what I call the folks, the people who drive their kids to soccer practice and go to work every day and hit the grocery store on their way home and then come home and watch reality shows. This is the sort of thing that will appear on TMZ, for example. This is a political speech that appeared that will inevitably, I haven't checked TMZ because I don't normally look at it, but I bet you this is on TMZ. This cuts through the political debate in this country.
Well, the right wing hated it, so that's enough reason for me to love it. The right wing went berserk, and so that should tell him right there which side is on his side.
Or as Rocky Mountain Mike just said on Twitter, alt-right, alt-right, alt-right.
Okay. Meanwhile, I don't know. I thought this was somewhat important. Let's see. Where are we? Bob Woodward said there's overwhelming evidence implicating Trump in a criminal conspiracy. We will be talking to
Glenn
Kirshner, just a few minutes, but a federal judge has ordered another batch of John Eastman's emails to be given to the 1-6 committee, including another email the judge says is evidence of a crime relating to efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Oh, my God. I mean, this should be an emergency broadcast system. Of course, Fox isn't going to air it because, first of all, it'll be hugely embarrassing for their anchors, like Ingram and Hannity and Pilmy, who are right in the middle of it.
Well, you were playing whiny Peter Navarro there for a second, and he actually was able to distract from his own awful story with another awful story about him. His indictment for contempt of Congress kind of overshadowed the fact that last week he was subpoenaed by a grand jury in D.C. for documentation about all of his communications with Donald Trump, putting the DOJ's investigation of the insurrection squarely in the Oval Office. And that is an important and massive development. I know Glenn will probably agree with me about that. And so the indictment that came right after that on a separate matter kind of overshadowed the fact that we now have we're now one step closer to DOJ investigating Donald Trump, if they aren't already by this series of subpoenas.
Yeah.
So that's all good news.
One person tweeted the fact that Fox quote unquote news has decided not to carry Thursday's primetime hearing of the January 6th committee tells you how effective they expect these hearings to be. They are terrified. I mean, not only will it make them and their anchors look terrible, but they've been promoting that. What did Hannity just call January 6th fake news again, or the January 6th committee's fake news?
Because he's involved in it.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was a hoax, if this is exactly what they say it was, wouldn't they run it just to make fun of it? To say, another lie.
I thought they said the FBI and Antifa was involved. You'd think they'd want to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, let's point out, that guy was Antifa, or that information they're talking about was actually, they're cowardly about this. They don't want you to see. It's like saying, well, don't open that closet door. Yeah. No, don't go near there. You're touching the doorknob. Don't touch the doorknob. Well, they're actually calling attention to the nefariousness of what's going to be reported at this first primetime hearing. And they're playing it like a bunch of cowards. They just are trying to distract their audience from seeing
that's the difference.
What's really happening. And that's really telling.
But that's the difference with Watergate, right? I mean, they're already saying, right? Travis, what's the morning stack? They're going to do a pre-buttal. They're going to put out their version. Well, their version is lies. They're going to try to look over here. I thought it was a joke. They are actually talking about a caravan. They're talking about a caravan because of course. Yeah. Because what are they going to counter program with? They're going to
a caravan gives something for Fox News to cover.
Hunter Biden is trending again. It's just like, oh my God, look over there.
It's Skinner playing Freebird. They're playing the hits leading up to this thing. Yeah, for sure.
By the way, you've been all over this. I quoted you yesterday, as I tend to do, but it is hilarious about them talking about seizing fentanyl at the border. And you said, Biden's border patrol stopped 420% more fentanyl than Trump's border control. Outstanding. And you said, I'd love to know where this ridiculous border seizure talking point came from. They keep doing it, so they clearly think it works. Maybe it does with the frightened morons who follow them, but everyone else, it's the dumbest GOP attack line ever. Right? I mean, you're
Yeah. And by the way, what kind of meta weirdness is it? You're reading my tweet to me, and I'm going, what he said.
That guy is good.
Someone give him a show.
I have been collecting dozens of these tweets since they started, and it's the most ridiculous attack line I've seen from the Republican Party since whenever. I think they think that they're telling their audience that, there's a lot more than this crossing the border, but the Biden Border Patrol is interdicting all of this other fentanyl and people trying to cross over and meth and cocaine. And so I don't know what they're saying, because they're inherently complimenting Border Patrol under Joe Biden. In fact, one of the most recent ones showed that there's been a 420% increase in seizures at the border over the Donald Trump in 2020. So that's an amazing ballyhoo for the Democratic record on border seizures. I wish, as I wrote in that tweet that you just read, I wish I knew where this talking point came from and whether they're constantly hitting themselves in the head with a frying pan. I mean, that's the only explanation for the dumbness of this attack. But please keep going, Republicans. You're doing great.
Well,
thank you for helping.
Speaking of stats, as you said, you tweeted record budget surplus, record drug seizures at the border, record low child poverty, record domestic oil production, record investment in green energy, record job creation. You know, here's what I think one of the things, I don't know how many times we can have, well, here we go. Couple of tweets. Really American tweets. Oil company executives who fund the GOP are literally laughing in corporate boardrooms across America when people blame Biden, not the Republicans who voted to allow them to price gouge you at the pump for high gas prices. That is something we've got to really seize, don't you think? For the midterms. Yeah,
talk about people who are taking advantage of our politics right now.
Yeah.
I think they assume that everyone's going to blame Joe Biden, and they're correct in that assumption. Because everyone is blaming Joe Biden, or I say everyone. Enough people are blaming Joe Biden for this, so that it's potentially going to change the outcome of this upcoming election. But what they're doing is they're hiding behind those politics. They know that they can gouge prices, and people will blame the White House rather than the oil companies and the gas stations who are actually doing it. So that's the cynicism. That's the extreme cynicism of them.
The three largest oil companies, Shell, Exxon, BP, had a 300% increase in first quarter profits. Tell me again how President Biden is responsible for the rising cost of gas at the pump. And again, the both sides do it. You're right with the media. They don't say because of Putin's war, inflation's worldwide. Gas prices are worldwide. I mean, it's...
Yeah. Well, dovetailing this back with guns, I think this speaks a lot to my disillusionment right now with my fellow American voter. There are a bunch of American voters about to step into voting booths this year and elect more NRA-backed Republicans in spite of all these school shootings, and all because gas prices are temporarily higher than they normally are. And I underscore temporarily, because by the time November rolls around, gas prices could have or might entirely recede back to normal numbers by that. This always happens right around summertime. It's a cyclical thing usually. And so but I think people are making up their minds about who they want to vote for based on this. Yeah. And it's a short-term, selfish, immature demand, given the stakes of some of the other issues we're talking about: guns, climate crisis, reproductive rights, voting rights, most importantly. And so once again, American voters are going to make the wrong choice.
Well, can I give you
the voting booth this year?
One last? Both sides do it. We're talking about the heightened alert issued to law enforcement for violent extremists, praising Uvalde shooter. At one point, it all becomes one story. Empathy for all tweets. Ted Cruz's comments failed to mention that the FBI reported that of the racially or ethically motivated violent extremists, 87% were white supremacists. Both sides don't do it. Right? I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
And even on the January 6th starting this week, you just said how many Trump loyalists will go to prison to defend someone who would never in a gazillion years do the same for them. That the not-so-secret ingredient of Trumpism is 74 million suckers. And will buy whatever version of January 6th they put out, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Peter Navarro's another one. Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino just got off. I mean, they were dangerously close to being indicted themselves. And there is a rumor, by the way, that there's something bigger in the works for the two of them, which is why DOJ didn't pursue contempt charges for them. But suffice to say, they're willing to go all the way for this bloated con man from New York City. And I'll never understand the loyalty that he is able to divine from his own people. It's staggering.
Yeah, that's what their stories. They're gonna go defend him in front of the January 6th. Is it our country, our democracy wasn't attacked? Well, Tom Jr. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say the loyalty would never be reciprocated by him. He's willing to throw anyone under the bus. It doesn't matter. His own kids he'll throw under the bus.
Right. And you retweeted Don Jr. saying, "Hurry up before it's too late. Sign up and meet your favorite president." And you said, "What's next? Coupons?" Incidentally, Trump's rallies are now paid attendance only. $9 gets you a spot in the overflow room. For almost $5,000, you get a meet and greet with Commander Coke here. Not making that up. The Trumps divorcing suckers from their cash since whenever. I mean, the grift goes on.
$9 to get in, and you don't even get into the main rally area. They stick you in the overflow room. So you're paying $9 to watch Donald Trump on television with a bunch of other people who probably are going to get that's money well spent. These suckers divorced from their hard-earned cash. Donald Trump is like the modern culture war version of a faith healer, going town to town, separating people from their money, promising things that he'll never, ever in a million years
as
deliver.
Jim Ward used
Miracles.
to say, there's 100% more snake in his snake oil.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
Love you, Bob. Mwah.
Love you too.
See you
okay.
soon.
Yeah.